What's your good news?
I'm getting published in Search Engine Land.
Yeah. By the time this is published, you'll be published probably.
Yeah, probably likely. Yeah, that'd be cool. And then that plus maybe in Stack Marketer again.
Yeah. That'd be good.
That'd be sick. But
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, it was okay. So the whole topic of what I was published in Search Engine Land for is Cody and I have always had our core tenets of we're going to do white hat SEO. And what we mean by white hat SEO for our clients is SEO in accordance with Google's policies. So not trying to do things that work just because everybody says they work, or, obvious black hat stuff like building PBNs and things like that. But one of those very specific things was location pages on websites. So a big practice that local businesses do and what local SEOs do is if a business is located in one spot but serves 10 different cities in the area with 5 different services, they'll have 50 pages. They'll have a page for this service in this location, and then this service in this location, and then this service in this location. And it's not really helping anybody except for search engines on ranking the content, because those aren't pages that an average user goes to find information. So those are called location pages, but I took some heat back in February of this year because in a local SEO group, I was like, those are doorway pages and those are against Google's policies. And we haven't done this. We've taken a very strong stance on doing this in our agency. And we've even lost a client over it because they wanted it done and we wouldn't. All that being said, I still have screenshots from the conversation because what it was I was just getting hounded like you're an idiot, like this works, you should do this, all companies do this. And I'm just like, look, all I'm saying is I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying that it's not gonna work forever, and when it doesn't work, it's gonna be an issue. And
in more ways than one.
Yeah. So this was 8 months ago, and I tweeted at John Mueller. I said, hey man, I've got a debate to settle. Is this location page, and described what it was, is that a doorway page? And he said, yeah, that's one way to create a doorway page. So I've tucked that in my pocket forever. And then enter August, September, October, when Google released the helpful content and they updated their spam update or their spam algorithm. The very same people that called me out posted in these forums that their sites' location pages got just completely de-indexed and they got de-ranked. And what it was duplicate content location pages. So when they build a location page and then they just swap out the content for the location and the service, those just got removed.
So to clarify, these pages are exact duplicates, and then they just find and replace. They find the location, they swap it out. Hey, I don't want this to be Iowa City. I want it to be Cedar Rapids or something like that. And then they replace whatever location. Everything else is the exact same.
Exactly. So this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to do this, because I didn't want to have to deal with our clients losing a bunch of rank and getting a bunch of pages de-indexed. So I interviewed the guy who originally made the claim against me, saying that that's basically bullshit. And I said, hey, can you show me some data about this? And so he showed me a search console and he showed me all of the pages that were getting de-indexed. So I'm like, I'm going to take this to Search Engine Land and I'm going to show what actually happened with these updates, because a lot of people lost rank for the local sites and they had no idea why. But this guy found out why. And I was like, well, I'm going to report on that because I knew this was going to happen back in February. So I have a lot of ammunition for this. Now I just need someone with screenshots to prove it. So I sent it to Search Engine Land. I had some revisions, and then I had to sign a subject matter expert agreement, and then given my author information and everything like that. So they're about to publish that. But then it was funny because I was talking to him yesterday, and I was like, yeah, this is exactly why we don't do this. And he goes, yeah, he's like, we have 300 to 500 pages per site and 200 sites that are like this. And he goes, and we found a fix. And the fix is if we do custom content, then we can, it will avoid getting de-indexed, or we can re-index it basically. And he calculated it, and paying a writer to update to custom content will take about 20,000 labor hours. Which is
20,000.
That's what he said, man. I'm not his accountant. I don't know his.
That's according to the 10,000 hours things, it's like twice as much to be an expert in whatever it is you want to be an expert in.
So, roughly came out to like $500,000 in overhead or something like that of what it would actually cost to do all this. And I was like, my man, that I was like, yeah, this is why we don't do that. And he goes, well, you guys definitely dodged the bullet. But I'm like confused. I'm a little confused because in my article I state, hey, it's just duplicate content that's being affected. But I think this is the first step that Google is taking, because they're able to detect that duplicate content as a spammy doorway page and just de-index it. What they don't have right now is a way to determine if something is a doorway page with custom content, because that requires like AI and algorithm all bundled up. So I think this is just a first step, but they're moving in a direction of the capability for them to automatically de-index or penalize sites that are doing this practice, whether it's duplicate content or custom content. Mm-hmm. So my question back to him would be, I haven't asked him this, was if you struggle, or if you're struggling so much to fix the error that you made, why are you going to make the same mistake again when Google does figure out how to detect these? But at the end of the day, it's his business model, and he's 10 times bigger than us. So I can't really knock him, I guess, but he is updating his business model. So he can't just turn and burn websites like he used to, because now he's realizing things have to be a bit more custom. So anyways, that's what I'm getting published for in search engine land. Big milestone, but it leads very well into the topic for today. And the topic for today is you've got to get comfortable not being good at what you do anymore. So, if you start a business and you are really good at like Facebook ads, for instance, you can be that Facebook ads operator forever and be that expert forever, but that's where you die, because you've made no room to like move into being an actual business owner. And Cody and I dealt with this a lot more when we were growing and hiring, which when we were just kind of focused on finding people in the role and also adding services, is we kind of took a back seat to actually performing the ads and the SEO. Sorry, we're watching Lauren's friend's dog, and his nails are insanely long. So every time he walks, you're going to hear it on the podcast. And like, he just...
What's his name?
Chance.
Chance.
Yeah. And
he looks like the Chance from, what was the movie?
Homeward Bound.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Did they do it on purpose?
I don't know. I don't know his story. Maybe I should ask him later. What's your story?
You just watch Homeward Bound. Probably the same.
My dogs love Homeward Bound.
Why. Who doesn't?
That's
doesn't
true.
love Homeward Bound? That was really wholesome.
Do
you watch the second one? I know there was two. I think there was three, maybe. I don't remember. Like,
well, did you ever watch like, what is it? Like The Amazing Journey or something like that?
Nope. No clue what that is.
So it is. God.
I just remember the second one. They were in like a city.
Oh, it's called It's called The Incredible Journey. And I have not
really
seen
generic.
the second Homeward Bound, but so the difference in like the Homeward Bound version is it's the animals have voices, whereas in Incredible Journey, it's like the same thing. It's the same movie, except instead of voices, it's a narrator.
Oh,
It's not. I don't think it's as good, but I do remember having this movie as well.
How far do they go? Homeward Bound 3. What happens?
I don't know. I never saw past the first one.
I saw the second one. I want to know. It looks like this is a real fake movie. It says a river runs through it. That's a different movie, but it's called Homeward Bound 3. A River Runs Through It. It says fake movie. What does that mean?
Maybe it never actually came out. It's like it's a meme.
Okay, I'm reading. Homeward Bound 3, A River Runs Through It is an upcoming fake American comedy adventure movie made by Disney. It'll be released sometime in 2021. Well, we're already past that. I don't know.
There's a lot of contradictory statements
fake
in
news.
there. All right, let's get back to the podcast. So, there was at some point where I felt like I was no longer going to be very good at SEO. And because I was just so focused on growing the business and networking and performing sales that I wasn't actually reading my SEO newsletters. I wasn't actually doing SEO and looking into results. And it was kind of weird because like I've always kind of been known as the person who's really good at SEO and like that's what I did. And then now it's not. Now there's just like I what was like a couple months ago, I spent like 2 hours trying to figure out what the hell Google stacking was. And I was like, what?
I don't know what that is. What is that? You gotta tell me.
All right. So Google stacking is basically, as far as I know, it's when you take different Google properties and you interlink them together. It's like Sheets and Google Docs and a Google website and Google presentations. It's stupid. It is so dumb because
That's a word. Who came up with that?
I don't
just using Google stuff. Why do we gotta call it stacking?
So the idea and like having like a Google YouTube, like having like Google Sheets embedded on your site somewhere, and then like on your Google site, basically the idea is that Google loves their own property. So when you like advertise it essentially and you link to it, it's called Google stacking. I think it's 100% bullshit.
Yeah, press X to doubt.
Yeah. and there's so much out there that's just like they're like yeah this is a thing, this is SEO, and I'm just like no, I highly doubt that. I was just talking to one of my buddies on Facebook who is obsessed with his SEO, owns a appliance company, and I don't know why he's obsessed with it because he's getting tons and tons of leads, but he's always asking me about like where he can get the best links and all this and things that like people have already like have told him are what he should do. But I told him, I was like, dude, it's not about how many links you have. It's not even about like where or like how authoritative those links were. It's 100% about the context of those links. And I told him I was like, Google Lawn Care Marketing Company, we're number one. And I had the Moz bar active on my Google search. So it showed me us and then all of our competitors below us. It showed us like the page authority, the domain authority, and then the amount of links to each site. We have 1/10 of the links of our top 4 competitors. We've got like 137 links to our site. And the next one up has like 10,000 or 1,000. And then our highest, technically our number one competitor has like 13,000 links. And our domain authority, according to Moz, far out surpasses any of them. And we have so little links, basically because the links we do have are in magazines or in Turf Magazine, Green Industry Pros, Lawn and Landscape.
Highly relevant.
Yeah. And like, they're not easy to get, but at the same time, like we haven't paid for any of them, which is something I told him too. And I was like, Google can tell the difference between a paid link and a free link, right? Like even if it doesn't say paid, like trust me, Google knows. If a bunch of people are on the site and like they know that the site takes payments to have like a press release or some kind of paid publication, Google's gonna know, and they're gonna devalue that link. And so none of our links have been paid. Anyways, huge tangent. But recently I've been starting to get back into digging a little bit more into SEO just because I've been involved in the community a bit more. And our business is like 75% on autopilot, I would say, at least like actual client work. And so I've been able to look more into actual SEO, which allowed me to still publish something on Search Engine Land and be considered a subject matter expert. But now I'm wondering, like, for how long? because eventually eventually like, I'm just not going to be a subject. Maybe I can publish for Forbes or being like how to be a business owner or something.
I think hasn't even Rand Fishkin said that sort of thing. Like, look, I'm not the guy to ask anymore with some of this stuff. Like,
I believe it. I don't think he was ever the guy to ask. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. I think about it as, to go back to what you were talking about earlier, there's a point in my life where I got to the position that a lot of people dream of getting to, which is I was at a place, I was at a job where I built up enough credibility and authority to kind of pick the accounts I wanted to be on and do especially well on them. And I had one account that was very, I spent a lot of money. And as far as managing goes, it wasn't really that terrible. So I finally got to that point as a specialist where that was what I did. And it got eventually boring. Like, that's, some people dream of that, and that's cool. If you want to do that, like, awesome. I hope you get it. But for me, I got bored. And it's just, I don't know, that getting to that level of specialty, I feel like for me, I hit a point of diminishing returns. I get so good, and then the remainder of how much better you can get, I don't care. I don't care to do it. I'm glad that other people do. I would love to hire them someday. That's cool. But that's not for me. And I know that there's also, that's sometimes where the remaining money is, right? Is in being the best of the best, not just being among the best. But yeah, that doesn't really interest me. But yeah, so as far as changing roles too, where like now I don't even know what to tell people what I do anymore or what I'm good at. I can always go back to the default of, look, I'm probably better than a lot of people at running Google Ads, especially if you have a large account, and really performing exceptionally well means much higher profits for a large company. Like, that's where I most likely could do very well. Of course, now, I don't know. I could just be a go-getter somewhere if they really wanted that. Like, what do you do? I don't know. What do you need me to do? I'll go do it. Do you want me to harass people? You want me to get things done? You want me to muscle stuff? Sure. But
once you harass people, who are you working for? Andrew Tate?
Yeah. So I don't know what to tell people sometimes anymore because of the variety of things that we now do. And I don't know, my day to day, I feel like when it comes to certain parts of the business, I recognize that some things kind of get put on a back burner until I get the time to go back into a deep dive. And then even that deep dive is just getting things to a point where it's good. And again, better than most people, but just good enough, because something else has to be done too. Next, like, we don't have to get things to 100%. 80 is sometimes good enough, right? So I think about that with like Google Analytics 4 right now, because I was learning about parameters and these other things, and we could build things out much more sophisticated than what we are prepared to do, and we don't need to. There's really no major benefit to us doing that yet, so we're not going to. It's going to be relatively simple and straightforward because our reporting and our business positioning is relatively simple and straightforward. So we don't report on super crazy things because we don't care about them. You want leads, that's what we focus on. That's what our reporting is focused on. So, but yeah, I'd have to set time aside to deep dive back into that because it's been a long time since I've looked at it. And there's a lot of things like that where, I don't know, it's been a while since I've had the time to look deeply into that because I'm doing other things that I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm doing. There's a long list of stuff varying from, the legal logistics of the company to HR to payroll to accounting, right? Like, there's so much stuff. And the specialty of the business, it can kind of, I think if you're at a job and you got better than most people and things start to slip after you left, but you're still better than most people, then it can slip a little bit because you're still kicking butt. As long as you are realistic about when you need to double down again and really refresh, or don't turn into a dinosaur and let things completely go. I know people like that who just kind of get set in their ways and they don't want to adopt the new things or figure out that stuff because what they had was working, and they'll just run it into the ground. And who knows? Maybe I'll get to like 50 and become that person where I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to learn new tricks anymore. But we're not there yet. And I think, yeah, especially if you're listening to this, you got to be willing to do that.
I'd say that with some things there are like principles though. Like you can't get worse if you know the principles to like a certain level. So I think SEO is one of those. PPC not necessarily so much because settings and things are changing all the time. And like maybe if you know the principles, then your deep dive back into it isn't going to be as rigorous. Whereas SEO, I don't think I've done SEO different since I've started in 2015 ish.
Well, we keep things really clean.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though, is like for SEO, if you know that like Google, like I told buddy Tyler, I was like, dude, he goes, I want to get a second location in this city, and I was like, why? Because his first location doesn't even have a pin, and he goes, well, because maybe Google will see that I'm closer. I'm like, Google doesn't give a shit about your business, dude. Like, Google only cares about the user and the searcher, and so when you open a second location that doesn't have a pin, Google's like, why? You're serving things in the same area and customers can't even visit either of your locations. Why do you need to open a second one? And I've always thought I want to write a book on SEO, but the funny thing is by the time like most people write a book on SEO, all those practices are outdated. Because all of those practices, SEO practices that you usually read are like, especially new practices, those are usually some kind of workaround to game the system and influence rank. The actual things that Google wants to rank have always been a thing since like day one. And it just so happened that there were flaws in the algorithm that were easy to exploit. So in the early 2000s, it was really easy to exploit links and PBNs because they took a ton of value in links. Now, specifically this year and in the recent years, is Google really doesn't care that much about links. And they still use that as a ranking factor, but it's not a big one anymore. Especially in the local industry. So what they really want to care about is is your site providing the most value to a potential user? And if so, we want to rank you higher. So anything you do on your site or related to your site better help the customer in some capacity. So if you're throwing blog posts or you're throwing content or you're throwing pages on your site that don't have any user help, then it's not going to help in the long run. Google's going to find a way to de-rank you or de-index you or penalize you for trying to influence their algorithm. And so I can come into the industry now after taking like a year or two off of actually deep diving into SEO, hear this term Google stacking, look into it, and immediately know that it's bullshit. Because it's just... even if people did have studies on it, like, no, this works. I'd be like, yeah, but it's not gonna work. Like, it's just logically doesn't make any sense why you'd want to do this. Or PPC, I mean, that's a little different. But I did want to call back to a Tropical MBA episode. I have it in my notes, episode 667, actually. So they had it was the example of it was an E-Myth example of the baker. So the baker always thinking the business is in the cake when it's finding the cheapest bulk wholesale flour supplier. And when you're this baker in this instance, you're literally making money by baking cakes, but eventually you yourself gets out of the cake building business, and now you're the purchaser trying to find the ingredients for that so your bakers can bake. That's the same way that you're going to have to be when you start scaling your agency is you're going to have to get out of the actual work, start finding workers, but then also start like marketing and handling HR and doing all the operations like Cody was talking about, in which case none of it has anything to do with the services you actually offer at your agency.
Yeah, I don't know. So much of this stuff, I'm just like, I don't care. I just don't care about that. I care so little. And I think if that's where people's mindsets are at too, I think that they haven't shifted as much as they need to, especially if they're going from some sort of specialist position to wanting to run their own business, because those things, one or two things, they don't matter, right? Because there are other things that matter that they should be paying attention to, or they do matter, but they're extremely volatile and they're not things I would want to bet on. When I think about business, I think of, because I think of operations, I constantly think of how do we do our best to acquire the means of production as much as possible, or bring as much in-house as reasonably possible, and not to take away jobs from other people or other things or to hurt them, but just purely to stabilize the business as much as possible. Now, the more you do that, the more stable your business becomes, but also it's harder to do that because it's expensive. So the more complex businesses are, especially with, I always go back to Samsung, right? How many people can do what Samsung does? Not very many. And that's why they're like 20% of South Korea's GDP. Like they run South Korea, because look at all the stuff they do. How many people use their screens? It's insane. And that's because it's a huge operation that does very complex stuff.
Doesn't Apple even use Samsung screens?
Yeah, some of it. Yeah. So some of it is just like, look, it's going to take you 50 years to get to a business that has that level of control and complexity, unless, of course, you're going to do funding and that sort of thing. But saying you're bootstrapping it, saying you're going from zero to whatever, and you're just working with yourself, you have to constantly strive for more and more than that. And if your mindset is going to, what can I exploit? What can I exploit for a win and sell and build on that? And if you're building on it, okay, that's fine. Okay. I still don't think it's great, but I can understand why you would want to do that. But you want to move on as quickly as you can away from just that little, because if you build a business on that, what happens when that breaks? Right. Yeah. I think of ecom people who are selling a product and they think they have a business, or they have an affiliate website that's doing well and they think they have a business. I'm like, no, you have a product or you have a website. You do not have a business yet. There's nothing business. Even if you legally have to do it, you're in a very unsafe place. You don't have stability. This thing can get wiped out and there goes everything. And that's what I think people need to think about and then diversify from, instead of, okay, what's this thing that I can exploit for money? Because that's not a owner mindset. That's not where you need to be at mentally. That's kind of, you need to move on from it.
We talked about it in a previous episode about why we bundle SEO and Google Ads together, and like that's exactly it. Before Cody, I didn't really want to sell Google Ads because I wasn't very good at it, but I was good at SEO. But when we bundled these services together, when the SEO wasn't performing, maybe we were in a more competitive market where it took longer to rank a site, the Google Ads kicked ass and they provided leads immediately. And then vice versa, if Google Ads weren't doing super hot, SEO took off. It makes me think of some of the clients in the Northeast that we have, where it's like we launched the site and like a month later they had like 70 leads and maybe like 3 of them came from Google Ads.
Yep.
So like, but I mean, currently right now, Cody and I are closing this year out at $250,000, and we're looking to scale to 3/4 by the end of next year. But knowing that we're faced with two options, we can either get a ton of clients every single month. So I think it's like 5.5 clients every single month in order to reach that goal, or we can find more ways to upsell in our packages. And we do right now have that, but the question becomes, one, are we ready to upsell a package into a service that we haven't fully fleshed out yet? Or is there a more profitable thing that we can upsell and create like a higher tier SEO package? which are all things we're working on. So this is kind of like the shift from the business, from the subject matter expert over to the business expert. Is we're Cody and I are both subject matter experts in SEO and Google Ads, but what we need to do is focus on being a business expert and thinking, what is the most profitable thing to sell and replicate to the mass of the clients that we have, and then also have our employees execute on effectively, knowing that we're probably not going to be really involved in the actual execution of that.
Yep. Yeah, people, I mean, there's a very big split. I think once people have done it, they'll realize that everybody wants to sell SEO because it's straight money, right? That's awesome. It's just straight up profit for time. And that's great. People love to do that. What clients want a lot of the time is ads because they're scalable and because they're not as good at them, or they don't think they can do it themselves. There's math involved, that sort of thing. But yeah, the margins are much lower on ads. So figuring out ways where you can put something in the middle, that's kind of what our foundation was based off of. But yeah, it's kind of a next step for us that we're going further into. But
what do you enjoy more, being a subject matter expert in PPC or being an expert in business?
I guess PPC.
Really?
I don't. I tell people all the time, like, I never wanted to do this. I was never one of those people who was like, I'm going to go start a business and I'll be a businessman. I just was unhappy with the other things in my life, and the only way that I could accomplish them was by doing this. So I am doing it, and that's the same thing with. I tell people, like, I don't want to manage. I don't care to manage, and I won't micromanage. I just want to lead. It's like, look, I'm going after this, and I really want this, and I want people who want to follow along. If I need to breathe down your neck in order for you to care, get out. Okay. Like, seriously, I don't want you here. You're you're having fun, you like this, you want to do this, let's go. And then very minimal management, because I just assume that, look, I want to get you hyped and let's crush it. But I like more just being in the weeds, or figuring out ways. It's mostly because I don't like dealing with people. And there, some of that's unavoidable, but the internet has made business scalable more for people like me, for more introverted people, as opposed to the networkers and the connectors. So we've talked about it before, about like building courses in the future, or some sort of virtual products that would make us more profitable, but not have like a hour to dollar issue. So I'd like to eventually explore and pursue those, but all these things take time, and there's some other things that are higher priority between then and now, such as getting our reporting updated and getting GA4 set up and ready to go. Although they did just push it back until 2024.
Yeah. With how our YouTube video split test is going, it looks like you're going to be the one recording the training videos and the courses that we sell. We're running a split test YouTube ad for Evergrow on some target landscaping channels, and we both did our own rendition of like a 50-second ad, or 30 to 50-second ad,
like a selfie monologue of us just saying, "Hey, check us out."
Yeah, and it's just like very simple. And then Cody's got like a 18% view through rate, and mine's like 8%. Granted, I mean, we're doing like $1 a day just for funsies. Mm-hmm. And so far people like to listen to Cody over me.
We'll see. It's super early, but I wonder, there's so many things. It could be the backgrounds, or like the backgrounds of our videos are very different. I'm like, it's super boring. I'm just
a white wall.
Yeah, it's a white wall. But yours is like, you've got a sexy office setup thing. It looks really cool. I don't know. Maybe they think you're too much of a here in my garage kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that, but I also to send Search Engine Land like a picture, like a headshot of mine. And I hate the ones we took in December last year. Like, I hate them.
Why? What's your beef?
I don't know. I just like derpy.
Is it because we were chunky?
A little bit. Well,
We've lost a lot of weight since then. Both of us.
I need to go to like a photographer and just be like, hey, here are my insecurities when I take pictures. Like this, like this double chin that I have, like sometimes. I was trying to take pictures of myself, like just at my desk or whatever. And I kind of get the lighting right too. And then every time I took a picture, I look like Willem Dafoe. Like, I don't know why. I just look like the human version of the Green Goblin. And like, it was weird because like, I'm like, yeah, I look good in this picture. I'd take it and then like as a selfie and then I would flip it around and I'm like, oh God, no. You know, like if you actually see like the true reflection of yourself, it looks really weird because you're so used to seeing like a reflected version, like in a mirror. But if you see it opposite, it looks like really weird to you. To me, it looks ugly as sin. So like, I couldn't do it. So I'm about to just like go to a photographer and be like, look, I've got $1,000. I don't care how long this takes. We're going to take a picture that I like. And then I'm going to use that for the next 5 years. And then in 5 years, I'll call you again.
Yeah, I'll be back in 5 years.
I almost used the picture that I took in 2017 when I hired this girl at church to take pictures of me for Evergrow, like professional headshots. I almost used that, but then I realized I look like a child. Like I was 23.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't use this one. So I ended up using the ones we took back in December, and I was just like, whatever, I'll just deal with this. And then I don't know.
We could get pictures again. It's been a year. I don't know. I think, what was it? When I was at my last place before this, it was like every 3 years maybe that I was getting a headshot done.
I don't necessarily think we need new pictures. I just need to find someone like here or something like that and just do other pictures of me.
Yeah.
I'm so vain, but also like so ugly. It's just like it's like a battle. And
it's always nice to have a recent picture that you like of yourself. I hate pictures. Like I've said before, like if I died and there were 3 pictures of me, that'd be fine. But it's also, because I don't really like myself either. I sent you that one, that somebody took one of me this morning. I just saw myself and I was like, that's not great, but also it's cool. I don't look good, but cool picture.
I've hated my face in every picture you and I have taken together.
Well, that's hurtful.
My face, not yours.
I know, but it feels like you're pushing it onto me. Like it's my fault. Like every time we're together, I hate myself.
Yeah, that's because it is. I think the only one I liked is when we went apple picking.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's on the fridge.
I wanted you to ask me the question. There was a question.
Oh, sorry. Let me ask it back.
Okay.
Hold on. It was, would you rather be a subject matter expert or a business known for being good at business?
I'm really impressed that you remember the question because I didn't even remember the question. I just knew there was a question I needed to be asked.
Yo.
Thanks, Cody. I'm glad you asked.
I like when we do that. Let's always do that from now on.
Okay. A business owner, expert, for sure. Because I don't like being in the weeds. I don't like...
Why, Jake? Why? Tell me why.
It's just tedious. I don't like busy work, and that's kind of a lie. I do like busy work. If I just get to listen to music or put on a YouTube video and just do something. But I don't like being faced with a lot of work that I just don't want to do. And a lot of it is usually SEO related. I'll say this though. I do love doing SEO work for Evergrow, like for one particular business. I don't like doing work for lots of other businesses. And
as we run an agency.
Yeah.
Well, that's all, we run it, right?
Well, yeah,
that's why we're at the top.
I came in as a subject matter expert. I know how to do this. I can sell this, and then I can like perform. I can make results. It doesn't necessarily make me super happy, but I can do it. It does make me happy when I get to do it for one company, though. Like this is all I do, and so I have always loved the idea of being like the digital strategist and marketer for one company, and that's it. it just, I don't know, maybe the agencies that we worked at just kind of burned me out. And like, I just don't like dealing with people and their deadlines. But after running this business and being successful in it, and just learning all the things that I've learned so far, I want to own more businesses. Like I want to make more businesses successful just with the core lessons I've learned, primarily like, just, the profit first mentality and labor hours and just being able to scale. Like the amount of people who don't know anything about that is ridiculous. But I talked to you yesterday. Was it yesterday? Or about going to a like a local chamber of commerce to like to network.
Yeah,
I think we were actually talking about making friends because neither of us have them.
Hey, I have 3. You're one of them. So
I have one.
You're my mom and my girlfriend. No,
I have one. You're one of them. Yeah, but like, but we don't actually have a business in Minnesota, so like, it's kind of pointless unless I just go there and just say, hey, I'm looking for business opportunities, which I guess is kind of true.
Just hang out.
Yeah. Because I don't care what business it is, as long as it's like lucrative, because I care about the operations and not the practice.
Yeah. People in business aren't good at making friends either. That's why they're in business. We're all just sad and lonely together. That's why they drink so much. That's what I learned about Japan. That's the last 3 years of studying Japanese. Everybody drinks because they're lonely.
He's right, but he shouldn't say it.
Like, yeah, that's the thing you keep in your head.
Well, I think that's all I had to rant about. I think we came into this episode without like an agenda, and we're just like, let's rant about how we're not good at what we do. All right,
because I think it's really important for people to know that. We both have long-term ambitions that go beyond the agency, and I think agencies are very, or at least to me, it's been very newbie friendly because there's so much room to just mess around. I mean that in the nicest of ways, and you can make the most or the least of it, because I know people who make really big agencies, right? And that's what they want to do, or that's what they want to do. And I have like a projection of where I think I'll reach my personal limit, and then I'll have to lean a lot more on other people for certain skills. But no, I think it's in a lot of ways, it's just a profit machine. You don't have to worry about inventory and that sort of stuff. You just make money, and you have people as labor hours. That's really simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is simple. You just have to hire people to do the tasks. And then, you can use it as a platform to fund other stuff. So I think people discount it and they'll knock it down and be like, well, it's simple, and therefore for some people it is easy. I'm like, yeah, okay. For some, sure, no doubt. But also it lets people find out if it is easy or not. If it's easy for you, then start looking at other things if you want to. But also if you're struggling a lot, then maybe you're just better off being a S-tier player at a certain company or a certain place, because people need those. We're going to need those. And I don't know. I don't think there's shame in that. I don't like when everybody's like, everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, that sort of thing. We've talked about that before. And no, people need to have really good people on their team in order to accomplish those big things. Nobody's doing it by themselves, no matter what the news is saying.
Yeah.
So that's my gospel.
Yeah. No, you're right. There was this one guy on Lawn Site today that I was talking to, and he was like, hey, how do you like differentiate yourself from other businesses? He goes, like, for me, like, I don't know. I was at this like entrepreneur summit or something, and they were going around saying like, what's your niche? And like everybody there was like some kind of like internet marketer or did something like online, and like, I'm a tradesman. And I was like, some people were saying like, yeah, you're a landscaper. What do you specialize in? Like, do you do irrigation? Do you do hardscapes? Things like that. And he goes, and like, as far as like what makes me different is like, I don't know, like I show up to my customer's property with my dog, and I was like, first of all, that's weird. Like, like, I was like, I wouldn't do that. Like, I love my dogs, but like, I would never just do that.
Dog's wearing a hard hat. It's got a
But I did
Hands-on, it's ready to work.
comment on it, and like I told them, I was like, hey, you'd be really surprised at how little people care about uniqueness in like a contractor. They don't get me wrong, they care about expertise. Like I have my sprinkler guy blow up my sprinklers before the winter, but I have the lawn care guy do the lawn. I don't have one of them do both of them. But like as far as like their business, I don't know a thing about their business. Like I don't. I just know that they're good at what they do and I pay them for that. Some people are different, but I think for the most part, people really don't care about uniqueness. So I told them, I'm like, if what makes you unique is you bring your dog to job sites, I'm like, you're going to die an operator because that's not scalable. What happens if you got to run your business? Like, no one's bringing their dog to the job site anymore. And if they are, that's again,
clone your
weird.
dog, clone the dog, give employees the clones. This is how this scales. Write this down. This is good.
I thought that was relevant, so I'd bring it up.
Yeah, no, that's good. Good point.
Okay.
Now it's actually all.
That's all I had.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to us rant.
Yeah. See ya.